Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name is Bob, I'll be your host. And welcome to the first video in my 2024 June Storm. This month, I'm going to be looking at different homebrew things that I've come up with for various games that I've run over the years. And in this video, the one we're going to look at is for Vampire the Masquerade. In Vampire the Masquerade, there are several clans that your vampire can belong to, and a lot more bloodlines that you have to choose from as well. And in one of my old vampire games, back when we were running 2nd edition Vampire the Masquerade, there were some events that unfolded that kind of inspired and required me to create statistics and stats and everything for a brand new bloodline for that game. And this is what I came up with. I have, excuse me, I have my notes from back in the day, so I might look at those as we go. Anyway, what happened was this. One of my players was playing a Ventru vampire, and he got involved in this nonsense that was going on and came across this company that had found out about vampires and was stealing vampire blood in order to try and manufacture it into a kind of super soldier type deal. And he recognized that this is definitely a breach of the Masquerade, and he went in there to shut it down. Well, it didn't go exactly according to plan, and he wound up, he did shut it down, but he wound up freeing all the test subjects, and they got away. Well, there was a big outcry about it, and vampires were going out to try and kill all these things off because they were wreaking havoc, and definitely a breach of the Masquerade. Well, my friend caught one, and for whatever reason, he decided to do something I did not expect him to do. He drained it of blood, which on the spot inspired me, and he became infected with what they were testing on these guys. So this eventually evolved up, and I needed stats, and it created a brand new bloodline that's very looked down upon. Out of the 50 subjects that were released, only 10 of them are unaccounted for. And the bloodline, the way it is, when the ones were released, they were monsters. Thin, wasted physiques, very long fingers that are 6-inch claws that could cut through anything, mouths full of teeth jetting out in all directions, and prehensile feet that are clawed, and they could do some quite remarkable things. Well, my friend became infected, and the way it works out is this bloodline now has 2 distinct variants in it. There are those that are embraced as them, and those that are born of them. And the name of this bloodline, my friends dubbed the Droolies, because in their war form, and we'll get to that, they drool a lot. And later on, when there was more intelligent ones showing up, they tried to change their name to the Night Prowlers because they thought it sounded cool. But nobody calls them that. Only they themselves will call them that. Everybody else just calls them Droolies. Well, so you have these 2 variants of this bloodline, and the way you become infected is all you need to do is just drink 1 point of blood, and you're infected. It doesn't matter if you spend it immediately or not, you're infected. It bonds instantly. And over time, you start hearing yourself talk to you, trying to get you to do horrible things, call people names, take things that don't belong to you at first. And it escalates. Murder that person. Kill that kid. Horrible things. And it escalates constantly. Eventually, they wound up seeing themselves, and themselves will talk to them, trying to get them to do more and more horrible things. The drooling entity pretty much drowns out the beast at most times, and is firmly in control of the situation. Well, once you're infected, that's it. You're a droolie. But if a vampire that is infected embraces somebody, that person, instead of being of the parents' clan, Nosferatu, Ventru, Torador, whatever, they are not of that clan. They are straight up droolie. And start with the droolie disciplines. There are 3 core disciplines to the droolies. Now, if you're infected, you can buy these disciplines at the cost of out-of-clan disciplines. If you're born as a droolie, then you can buy them as clan disciplines, and they're what you start with. And we'll get to those in a minute. But that's pretty much them in a nutshell. There are these entities that just keep trying to take over. The other self wants to be in control of you. If you deny what it keeps requesting you to do enough, it can deny you the disciplines that come with being a droolie. And it usually does it at the most inopportune times. So eventually you're going to have to give in if you want access to the new disciplines. And there are 3. And the disciplines that we have for the droolies is flight. And flight, as it advances, you can do more and more. At 1 dot, you float to the ground when you fall off of things, and you don't take no damage. And as you build in dots, you're able to do more. At 2 dots, you can levitate. You can't go anywhere unless you grab onto something and pull yourself along. And eventually you can soar through the air like you're a bird. And the second discipline that they have is teleport. And at lower dots, you can't go very far, and you can't pass through walls. As you build this up, you can actually pass through walls and doors, teleport to the other side, teleport greater distances. And that's always a great thing to have to escape real quick. The last discipline that they have is body shifting. And as this advances, you're able to bring on more and more horrible aspects to your body to cause damage and stuff to others, until you get to 5 dots, which is their complete war form, in which they look like one of the things that broke out of the lab and get a bunch of bonuses to attributes, physical attributes. The problem is, when you take that form, you have to make a willpower check. If you fail the willpower check, then the entity inside you takes over, and you're pretty much out of the game until the next day in game. And while it's in control, it just goes on a slaughtering murder spree. And which is like when the character frenzies. And this, with infected characters, when you frenzy, it's much, much worse. Instead of the beast taking over, the entity takes over. And it goes on its killing spree for the rest of the night. And you can't come out of the frenzy until after you go to sleep in the morning and wake up the next night. So there are a lot of horrible things that can happen to you being infected. You get some cool disciplines, but you really got to think about how badly you want them. I had a few players, when I wrote it up, were like, oh yeah, I'll take that, and then got mad because of the negatives that come with it. And quit playing their characters and made up new characters. but it's not for everyone. They make great villains in your game, and they made a lot of great villains in my games. And out of something that was, it just happened, and it created a whole storyline that I wasn't expecting. And it required me to come up with a new bloodline. And that's pretty much it for the Droolies. Thank you for joining me. I had to look at this old homebrew thing that I came up with a long time ago. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.